Happy Thursday, another day, another live. I am your host, Geraldine Anello, and I am here today with Nissa Kahle. Hey, Nissa.
Hi, how are you?
I am so excited for this. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm excited for this too. I'm excited to get the chance to dress up.
I know. So everyone, if you don't know Nissa and I go many years back now. And Nissa is toured with the Chicago tour and was playing key two and accordion. She's also worked on Broadway at Great Comet, Radio City, Big Apple Circus. So we're going to talk about all those things. But here's something from those years of knowing Nissa that I noticed with her is that she always seems to find herself in the shows that have costumes and where you are on stage. And so when I invited her to do this, I said, how about we have a special costume live? And so we both decided to put on our best gowns, our best reception gowns.
You got to put the back of this one. It's got a great back with the little sequin.
It's a great back. It is so fun. So we decided that just gowns are not enough, because why would it? When in confinement, you get your gowns out and all you can. So we decided to bring some other costume pieces we've had that are show related. So what's the first piece you want to add on to your gown?
The first piece I'm adding is actually a hat, which is, I'm at my mother's place right now, so I had to get a little creative. This is representative of a former hat that I wore in the Footloose band at Austin Summerstock. So here's my costume piece.
Yeah.
No, it's much better this way. There
now,
you go.
were you doing the Summerstock as a music director, or were you?
That was actually one of my first experiences. The headphones are totally wearing me out. That was actually one of my first experiences I was key two, and then I replaced the conductor for the end of the run. So it was the first time that I really learned how to conduct a show that I hadn't music directed from the start. So that was what that was.
I love it. Well, fine. Since you added the hat, I'm going to add the hat. I feel like we're on Tuesday. My hat is from the Bat Out of Hell.
I love it.
I did the Bat Out of Hell at production at City Center, music directed by the wonderful Ryan Cantwell, who will be doing a live with us in a couple of weeks. And we had such a great time. It was so amazing. Matt Doubler played it. Dave Manning.
I love that.
It was so fun. I got like this double rig. I was like slamming, jamming on the organ the whole time. It was like a sliding fest. So that's a show. And currently, actually, this is very timely because I would be on a tour with Bat Out of Hell, with that production, if it weren't for the current confinement situation. What is your next piece you want to add?
Well, can I tell you about my dress first? We sort of speaking of the dresses. This was my grad school recital dress. It is glitter-tastic and colorful because we always wear black. So when I had the one chance to do a recital, not knowing that my whole career would be spent in costume, apparently, I got the most glitter-tastic dress that I could find. So I pulled it out of the closet just for you guys.
I love this. Yeah. Yes. Did you have more to add on?
No, I was going to get the next item.
Oh, wait, so now I also want to tell about my dress. My dress has no history. I bought it for whenever I would be invited as a guest conductor to do a Pops concert. I have not been invited to do so yet. So anyone who can hear me, I have the dress, so you know I'm ready.
I'm reversed. So I was like trying to play it off.
Here we go. What is your next piece?
My next piece is actually, we're going to add a suit jacket.
Ooh, yes, suit jacket.
Because I've realized I have not actually played in a pit since I got to New York. I've only played on stage in mostly costumes. So this is the suit jacket. We wore this for Big Apple Circus, which was tux attire, which for me meant yoga pants and a waitress shirt and this jacket. And we also wear this for Chicago. So suit jacket.
That jacket is your career.
Yes. Oh, yes. This jacket is, I actually have like 5 of them.
Did they provide them for you, or is it up to you to pick the one you want?
Oh, no, I had to find one, so.
Wow, that's so amazing. I also have a jacket I'm going to, now this one is probably one of my favorite pieces, everyone, because that's the one they made me when I conducted at School of Rock. And all the sub-conductors were guys, and so they would just take the main person's jacket. But for me, because I was like about twice smaller than the guys, they had to make me a jacket. They also had to make me a little podium to stand on so that the camera could actually see me. which proved really hard because the floor was definitely not even, and so they had to like literally know which it was the whole thing in that building. But so it has like the School of Rock logo on the arm, and it has a house band in the back. So when you put it on, it's a pretty sweet jacket. I mean, I'm ready to go like rock out.
Yeah.
So suited up. So for those of you who are waiting for this costume segment to take off, here we are. We are now. Oh wait, no, we have one more. We have one more accessory.
Oh yeah, we do.
We're gonna pull it out at the same time. Well, I'm gonna count of 3. So everyone, this is just our current costume. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Now, I wanted to share this one because our wonderful Kimberly actually sent these to me in the mail. Thank you, Kimberly. Aww. And also sent it to a few other members, including Sarah, who's saying hi on the comments. So
hi, Sarah. That's so sweet.
Where did you get your mask?
This was actually, and mine's reversible, which I feel like I'm doing a TV ad. But my friend Rose Gonzalez made this for me. She made one for me and one for my mom, and we actually did summer stock theater together a long time ago. I think 12 years ago when I was in college. Now everyone knows how old I am. But that was the summer that I did the last show I actually did as an actress before I gave up acting to be a music director only. So Rose was making masks and we connected, and she made a couple for me and my family, which is really sweet of her.
It's so sweet. Everyone making masks for others. Yeah. Now let's talk about the Chicago tour. How long were you there for? How was that like?
I started fall of 2014, and I was on the tour on and off until May of 2016. So 2 seasons, basically.
How was it?
I loved it. I love the show. I love the way that it plays pianistically. I loved the people. And I also loved that sort of towards the end of my time on the tour, we had a couple longer layoffs, which allowed me to come to New York and start meeting people. And I actually subbed for the Broadway Company of Chicago before I had actually left the tour. So when I left, I had somewhere to go, and I knew that I'd have stuff to do here. So the whole experience was really wonderful.
I'm feeling really silly now talking about these serious things with the hat on, so I'm actually going to take off the hat. Did you learn the accordion for the Chicago tour, or were you just always playing the accordion?
Oh no, I learned it for the audition. So I actually was moving to New York a day or 2 before I moved to New York. Do you know Greg German? I feel like everyone knows Greg German.
Of course I know Greg.
I had met him years before. So Greg German looks me up and he's like, are you moving to New York because Chicago tour is looking? And he connected me to do this audition. And they said, great, here's the music. And one of the pieces was for accordion. So I was literally driving to New York with all my stuff in my car, calling rental places saying, can I rent an accordion? Can I rent accordion? They'd say, is it for a prop or does it need to work? I was like, yes, it needs to work. So I rented an accordion. I got to my new apartment with my best friend's aunt, who was thrilled to see that I showed up with an accordion that I was going to learn to play. Exactly what you want to see from a new roommate. So I learned a cut from the show for the auditions, and then had several weeks and lots of help from John Johnson, who was playing the book in New York, and from other people to actually learn the instrument well enough to play the show before we opened in New Orleans.
How did the audition go on the accordion?
Terribly. It was really bad because, you play accordion, right?
A little.
Okay. So basically, you have an accordion. I'm going to, like, my arms in this.
You have an accordion with you.
I have a very small, actually I do. We can demonstrate on this accordion. So you have an accordion, and it has a top strap. And so it opens a little bit, and then it has a bottom strap. This is a toy accordion. This is not a real accordion. And if you open the bottom strap, then you could open the accordion all the way. So I did not realize at my audition about the bottom strap.
No.
So I tried to play it, and my accordion opened about this much. And I had to turn it around every other note. And it was really, really horribly embarrassing. Luckily, they'd had me do all the piano stuff first. And then I got to the accordion, and their faces just fell. But I was lucky because they were doing another round of auditions the following week. And they said, look, take a little more time with it. Get a bigger accordion, because I had accidentally rented a child-size accordion, which I was just like, I don't know, just give me one. And so that was a disaster, but I was really lucky that I got a second chance to spend a little more time with it. And actually ended up really loving the instrument because, you know, we play with singers so much, and it's like a piano that breathes. So I think it's really fun. You get to do crescendos and all these effects that you can't do on a percussive instrument.
Now, you also play the accordion at Great Comet, Natasha and the Great Comet of 1812, which is such a phenomenal show. How was that experience outside of the accordion, like all of it?
That show was so wonderful because that was like my first sort of New York family. And even though I was just a sub on the show, everyone was really welcoming and they included me. And so having left tour and having this sort of family on the tour, it was nice to have a group of people that were so welcoming here. And I love the music. I got another costume. I just got to keep the shoes.
I mean, those costumes were real.
Oh, yeah.
Those costumes took guts to wear.
Yeah. Once we're done with this, maybe I'll put some pictures in the comments of some of these.
I mean, there were like fishnets and very tight skirts, and
I had like sexy pirate costume, and I loved it. I was obsessed with my costume. I had fishnets and like short shorts and a red shirt, but then I had like this pirate jacket that went over it, and like many belts, multiple belts, and then played like the Mama Bear accordion. And it was fun because like all the subs they had costumes for each of us. So it was just a great experience. And I love that show.
You didn't just play the accordion, you also played the piano on that show, right?
Well, piano and glockenspiel, and also the wine glass.
Wine glass.
Wine glass, yeah. There's a moment in the show where it's just silence and you dip your finger and everyone around the theater does the wine glass, and it just fills that, yeah.
Was that the most nerve-wracking moment for you?
I practiced the wine glass a lot. I think the most nerve-wracking moment for me was there were a couple of glockenspiel runs. Are you still there? I don't know where you went.
You're back.
Oh, there you are. I lost you for a second. The most nerve-wracking moment was there were a couple glockenspiel runs, and since I'm not a glockenspiel player, all of a sudden I don't have all of my fingers. I only have this. There'd be these glockenspiel arpeggios, and I would be playing, and they went so fast, and they were just sparkles, and you know, it's the sort of thing that unless you're really listening, you wouldn't notice. But I often played, because I would sub for Matt Dobler, I often played when Matt Dobler was conducting. So he would be listening, and then it was right before intermission, he'd come down, he's like, nice tritone substitution there on that. So if I missed it, that was the most I would be like, I would play it like an airplay it like 10 times before it happened, and then it would go by so fast, and if you miss one note, I was like, I know he's gonna give you a hard time about it. But he was really supportive. He was wonderful.
Your dog who's crying in the background.
Oh, my puppy. Yeah. I think she wants to go see my mom.
Oh,
Tessie, you want to go out? Come on, Tess.
Oh, hi, puppy. So I am still in awe of the wine glass. So
I couldn't hear you with the headphones off. What'd you say?
What is the trick with practicing wine glass? I'm still not over that one.
You know, I had never been able to get it to work, and just for some reason it wasn't that hard with this wine glass. And now I can still do it. I don't know. It was Great Comet magic.
So what does it work? I mean, how does a beginner wine glass player?
It's like speed and pressure. So you have to like you just have to go around the wine glass a bunch, and then you start to get a little bit of sound. It's like learning how to whistle, I imagine. I can't really whistle either. But you know, like if you're trying to whistle and you get like that first little bit of sound, you're like, oh, I'm getting there. It was the same with the wine glass. It's like you start to hear it and you're like, oh, that's the one. So.
And at Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812, all the band members were out in very different, it wasn't an orchestra in one section. Everyone was out in very different areas of the theater. How did it work concretely playing in that kind of setup?
Using in-ears, which was one of my first experiences really depending on in-ears, and some of the stuff was clicked, especially because like I was on the other side of the Imperial Theater, then from Joey, who's the drummer, was literally across in the other mezzanine box. So I tried, like sometimes when I wasn't playing, I would take it out just to hear what it sounded like. And it would be, a full half of a beat delay just to get across the space. So the click was helpful, especially because there were, there's all this mechanical stuff. So.
And let's move on to Big Apple Circus, because that's so I know quite a few people like you who have played for it, and what I understand of it is that it's actually quite different from a regular subbing experience because the show is never the same from day to day. Can you tell us more about this?
It is, oh my gosh, I don't think I breathed for the first act that I subbed, even though I'd been there and I'd watched it a bunch of times, and you feel like you're prepared because it's a bunch of loops, and the conductor is watching people who are doing their act or the trapeze or something like that. When they get to a certain point, there's a jump cue. So you might jump ahead, or you might jump back 3 pages, and then you also you're on main stage, so you have to get the main stage back to where you're supposed to be, or he has signals he's watching for to figure out.
The main stages can go backwards too?
Yeah, a few times that would happen. Like we would have a trapeze act, and if they didn't catch a jump and they wanted to try the trick again, he would say, okay, we're going to go back to this letter. And it became predictable, but the first couple times you do it, it's just like, it was really helpful to come in with a sense of where am I leading and where is it okay for me to sort of drop out? Like the music is constructed such that, because the conductor is a trumpet player, he can sort of play the pickups into the next section while everyone's like, where are we? So that helped a lot, but it was quite an experience. And there also are no, this past year was my 3rd season subbing for them. And we did have a singer, but we couldn't really hear her. But the first 2 years we didn't have any vocals. And so often in theater, I feel like you can write in a vocal cue or something like that to really know where you are. With this, it was like, you're somewhere.
Oh my goodness. I've never heard of a show being conducted by a trumpet player in musical theater.
Hmm.
Where did that choice come from? Do you know?
I don't know the history, the tradition of it. Rob, who was the music director when I started, was amazing and had done it for years. And then Wages, who was the associate and then took over this past year, had done Ringling. And so they both had a long, long history with circus. But my guess would be part of it is because they can actually be playing and have a hand going. Obviously we can too. We can play with one hand, but they can play and lead into the next section as part of it. And I think it also is just, like they can take over a melodic line in the band. Like the music's constructed, so we might be sort of doing a vamp. So you have a few measures to actually catch on before your part changes, even though we've jumped to a new section.
So different. And then on top of that, so all of those things you've done are quite different actually. Like you don't really do like the traditional musical theater. It's like you're drawn to those things that present new challenges. You worked at Radio City.
Yeah, this past season was my first season subbing for Key2 at Radio City, which was so much fun.
It's so fun. I subbed for the Spring Spectacular.
Oh, yeah. So you've been on the band car.
Here's the thing that I thought was so different was that the click is not triggered within the band. It's triggered from a crew member because of how the union is set up and the crew is set up. And that's something that can't be changed. And so the conductor at the top of each song takes the little, what is it, like a talkie-walkie or something? They say click trigger no, or whatever it is.
You just go, and then you hear the count off because they have to start it. And then I think it was Patrick. I actually asked. I was like, "Whose voice am I hearing in my ears on these numbers?" And I'm pretty sure Cynthia Meng. I was subbing for her. She's like, "Let me find out." And I'm pretty sure his name is Patrick. So I really wanted to know that because I was listening to him so much. But yeah, then he starts counting off, and the click comes in, and for anyone who hasn't heard it, it actually counts off measure by measure. But it's not like one click, click, click. It's like one click, 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 37 click, click, because there might be a cut or so, So
I love when they start to do it. It's like 73, or they're like
73. Yeah, yeah. When they're multiple syllables, they're like 204,867.
Made it. And then for the Spring Spectacular, I'm pretty sure we had like 8 bars that did not have the count off. And it became so scary because once you rely on it, you stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it's not there. And it feels like you're like going without a net. You're like, how did I ever do shows that don't have a measure count?
Yeah, that was it also with the Christmas show. That was one of my most terrifying moments because there was like the patch that I was on was like guitar or harp or something that really had an attack. So I didn't want, you can't be off with that. And we had this video to prepare with what we're going to hear, but then it sounds totally different in your in-ears, and the conductor is, you know, about 5 miles away. And so that was terrifying. But
and then Radio City has the fun orchestra reveal.
It does, which like I always get nervous as a first-time sub, and I'm getting better about learning how to, you know, manage my preparations so that I can get rid of the nerves more quickly. But like that first moment is always a little terrifying. It is even more terrifying when you are rising 30 feet out of the ground as you hear this like 10, 9, and like there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. Here we go. There's the spotlight. Like that was scary, but then it quickly became fun because, you know, it makes people so happy, and the musicians were excellent and everyone was welcoming. So
I had a similar experience. I also felt like a little bit claustrophobic because you're in this open space in the basement, but then all of a sudden, as you go up, you have walls around you, and it really feels like you can't get out. And to me, and I don't know about you, it felt like the moment we hit the stage and you see this giant hall and all the people, it felt very freeing. It was like, oh, I can escape again. Did you have that too?
I had less of that and more of the moment that got me, both when I audited the book and also when I played it, was that especially because when I was auditing, I was sitting like on the edge of the band car, was when it moves to the side. So it's like, you know, it's coming, but you're playing, so you can't hold on. And then all of a sudden you're just, you know, there's just a jerk as it starts. And it's like you tense up because you know it's coming. So, which incidentally brings me back to my hat, because the last time I experienced that was Footloose, and we had a moving band car, and they also had a disco ball, and the disco ball was attached to a string of lights. I can't believe I haven't thought about this in ages, but it's attached to a string of lights. So every night the band car would start to move and I was playing, so I couldn't hold on to my hat, and the lights from the disco ball would just, every night. I think there was one night where I managed to duck and I saved my hat, but
oh my god!
every single night I got attacked by a disco ball. So
lights are a whole thing, indeed. I remember doing Fantastics off Broadway, and there was a whole. Originally, I did it with an iPad, so I could see the score always. But there was a section that was a full blackout, and I transitioned out of the iPad into real score at some point during my time there. And so all of a sudden, it was like, no, during the blackout, I cannot have the stand light on, so I have to memorize it. But here's the thing: it was like you end the song, blackout happens on that. You have to turn the page, and then in the complete darkness, you have to find your spot to wherever you're going,
to the notes,
and then start playing. And it's like, it's something to be memorized, but at least you know what spot you're starting from. But when you don't see anything, it always felt a little scary. And so the harp players there always had this little thing where they would tilt their dim stand light towards the piano player and hope that it would shine far enough, which it never quite did.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah.
But that was nice. It was like you're there kind of crawling on the piano like, okay, this is it.
I actually have a good trick for that I learned when I was learning accordion from Jessie. Jessie Kissel taught me this, is that because when you look at the accordion, you're looking down at it instead of out like piano keys. It can be difficult to tell like C from F because you see black notes starting, but like you're looking straight down. So the trick is you put a hole reinforcer on the note so you know where C is, and because you can feel it then. You can feel it on the key.
Oh, I love it.
But you can't see it because it's white. Yeah. That's
the tip of the day. Well, on this note, we're going to end this fun little moment. Thank you, Nissa, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad we have a chance to dress up.
My pleasure. Should we have like a grand bow? I mean, a bow. I feel like now that we're wearing these we should have a proper bow.
Or curtsy. I feel like it's like curtsy moment. Shall we?
Okay, fine. So,
all right.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.